Njenga, you have had the questions, or should we?
I have the question. I have the questions. Let me start by saying that I know the President IEK had duly invited our PS to be in this forum. He had confirmed until last evening. However, due to what is happening, the swearing of incoming Deputy President, all the PSs were required to be in attendance. So it's because it's a public holiday. That's why he's not here. Because of the national duty that he has been called upon. However, he had sent his housing secretary to come and represent him. Of course, the notice was given very late. Maybe he'd be on the way coming. However, I've heard all the questions, and being part of the housing department, I may wish to respond to some. One, yesterday, my colleague, Engineer Byron, who is the secretary in charge of IPDU, he's in charge of what we call the enablers. And I'm happy my colleague from Garissa has alluded to the issue that as much as we are doing this affordable housing, we have so many challenges that we have. But of course, when he was presenting, he had been invited to present about what we have, but not the challenges. I know if he had been told to come and talk about the challenges, he could have even done a longer presentation than what he did. One of the challenges that I know we have, and it has been alluded by my colleague here, the housing expansion is very rapid. And the expansion for physical and social infrastructure is not matching that expansion. We are sure and we are aware that is happening, and that's why in our ministry we created a department for enablers, where Byron and his team are able now to liaise with the service providers to see how we can match the growth of the housing, to match together what is we having a social and physical infrastructure. Of course, my colleague here has alluded to the VOK that we are doing along this road, Mombasa Marid Road. In our office, we call it Nyali. Let me say that as much as we are doing affordable housing, we don't just wake up and start doing the housing. We've engaged about 31 consultants, and I'm happy that the chairman, Kip, here has alluded to that. And this has teams from IEK, IQSK, and AEK. They are about 31. And we have consultants that are involved in doing the designs, and the ones that are able now to do the supervision consultancy. Like the VOK, we have a consultancy that we engaged to do what we call the master planning. We have a very elaborate master plan for the VOK. We are doing 1,976 housing units. However, we have what we also calling the social infrastructure that is inside that the VOK or Nyali master plan. We have a market to serve the area. It is we borrowed the designs for the market from county government of Mombasa. It is a G+1 with a basement. There's a four-level hospital, a school, both primary and a high school, and a playground. So we don't just wake up and do the housing. We also think about social and physical infrastructure. Of course, there was the issue of the Big Four that was in the previous administration, and the better. And I know my colleague was saying they are different. They are not different. Of course, the president that is here today was the deputy president, and the agenda, they had brought it together with the President Uhuru Kenyatta and the President Dr. Ruto. The only difference is, then there was no funding. Currently, there is dedicated funding for the affordable housing. The levy that we all pay, the people that are salaried are all paying 1.5% of our salary, and the employer pays another 1.5%. So the only difference is that at that time, there was no dedicated funding. Today, there's a dedicated funding that goes to doing the housing. And when the act was enacted early this year, the regulations were brought up, and we also thought, how do we do the housing without social and physical infrastructure? And the regulations are very clear. The money that we get out of the levy will be able to do the housing and associated physical infrastructure. And within our State Department, we want to dedicate about 75% of this fund to doing the housing, 25% to do the social and physical infrastructure. And what we mean, we don't want to take other people's responsibility, but we do what we call the last mile. If there's a water connection, sewer connection, drainage, roads within the area, the 25% will be able to do that. The hospitals, the schools, and we are dedicating that. The other issue that came out of the regulations is that it's not only the ministry that is implementing agent. The county government, the National Housing Corporation, including private entities, are also allowed to draw monies from the fund, so long they meet the threshold and implement on the housing agenda. The other issue is about the cost of doing the housing. Of course, we are not doing at 55,000 per square meter. That's not correct. Of course, we started at around 35,000 per square meter, but because of the cost escalation, the fixed cost for doing affordable housing currently is about 42,000 per square meter. It is not 55. Initially, when we started with the 200,000 units under the previous regime, and we started Mukuru housing, where we are doing about 13,000 housing units. It was 25,000 per square meter. Of course, because cost of escalation, and it was done about 4 years ago, we almost on the tail end, but the cost then was 25,000 per square meter. Lastly is about the ownership of these houses. When the levy came into being, I think it's important for me to say this. Everybody who is a Kenyan with an ID is eligible to own a house. One ID, one house. We only register through what we call Boma Yangu. If you have a household of adults, 4 or 5 adults, and all of them have IDs, they are qualified to own a house. The only issue that you need to do, you register, you start paying, and for you now to get a house, you only require to have paid 10%. But if circumstances does not allow you to have the 10%, the regulations have also allowed that you can be given a house without paying the 10%, and these houses are payable long term. Like the house that Byron was talking about yesterday, the social housing, where we have like a studio. It's now going at about 820,000, and the monthly rent to own, mark me, rent to own is 3,200 per month, pay for a long period of almost 30 years. And the difference is the people that in Mukuru and they stay in Mukuru, houses that are not decent, they still pay the same amount, 3,000, 4,000. But what we are now doing in the ministry, these 3,000 you are paying so that you can own up that house. And this payment is generational. If a parent is not able to complete the payments, the son can come in and continue until the payment is over, and you are able now to own it up. However, we know there are those people who have one ID, they can afford to pay so many houses, so there's a catch. One ID, one house, and to protect these, there's a caveat that you want to make. You cannot sell these houses before 4 years are over or thereabout, such that you don't come buy, sell, come again, buy and sell. Mr. Moderator, may I maybe pause there?
Okay.
There's much that I would have wanted to say, but for now, I think I've addressed the issue. The challenges are many, but if we are to address the challenges, you also see that we are trying to do our best as we are doing the affordable housing.
Okay. I just want to go online. There are 1 or 2 questions there. The first question is the affordability. Mama Mboga has to pay electricity, to pay for taking water to the 4th floor. 7 children to squeeze in a 1-bedroom, 40 square meters. Some of them are comments. The second one is affordable housing is a good idea that is badly approached. It leaves more to be questioned about the affordability itself. But those are comments. Maybe before I close, any burning question we can ask our director? Okay. Yes, Bwana Kiengo, yes. Kiengo's, I have seen your hand there, but let me...
Yeah. Now that the housing secretary is here, maybe There's something I wanted him to address. One is the VOK site where the houses are being built. Previously, it used to be used as a transfer station for waste in Mombasa. And the type of waste that used to be dumped there, because it was not properly managed, just like if you can remember, those of you used to know Kibarani. Kibarani used to be a very bad eyesight. I think VOK is the same. When the project started, they needed to do some decommissioning of the site. That one has not been done. I think what is happening is the waste that had been left there, not properly managed, and you know there could be a lot of hazardous material. Currently is being scooped and dumped in an open quarry somewhere, which may cause a further environmental hazard. I think now that you're around, you can pass by and confirm that and see what remedies can be done before NEMA comes for the contractor. Then secondly, currently the affordable housing program is being done on public land that is available now. So when we exhaust the current public land in Kenya, what is the plan that you have to ensure that there will be sustainability, there will be continuity? I'm happy that you addressed the issue of people not taking or not buying houses for speculative purposes where you buy and sell. I think putting that caveat was a good idea. So kindly, maybe you can respond to the two issues that I raised. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I know the RAD quite well. It belonged to the VOK, and there was an agreement between the government, the VOK, to give a state department about 20 acres to do the affordable housing. We have a consultant on that RAD who is doing the master planning and those other issues, geotechnical. So the only issue that I will do, I'll have a discussion with him, also to do an audit on environmental issues on the left out list that is there, because we don't want to create housing, then we create another challenge in terms of taken care of waste. So let me take it up with the consultant, and we see if he has no capacity in terms of environmental issues, we can commission another consultant to do that. The issue of the public RAD, I know currently it's easy now for us to develop affordable housing on the government RAD. Number one is a RAD at the national government. Number two is RAD at the county government. But we also want to improve going out to the private. We want to have the partnership between the national government and private owners who have a big chunk of RAD. But because we wanted now to push this agenda moving fast, we wanted to have priorities on the government RAD, the county RAD, but number three, we are now moving out to the private RAD where we can agree with the RAD owners on how we can develop housing. But of course, we want to protect. Like yesterday, Byron spoke about Kiambu, where now we are converting very productive land in terms of concrete jungle. So we want also now to have a regulation where we protect a very productive land for coffee, for tea, such that it's protected not for us now to do the concrete houses. And instead now we now start importing food.
Thank you very much. I think I'm happy that he has responded. Coincidentally, I think I'll have an engagement with you. When I introduced myself, I said that I'm the Vice President of KIP, and I'm also the Regional Director for NEMA, for Coast Region. So that's why I raised the issue of waste at VOK and how it's being managed. So we'll have an engagement with you later.
Okay. Last question. Any? Yes. Can you give the lady? So we have a lady. Give her a question. Can the microphone? I know there are many. I can see you. Don't worry. let her. She was before. Yes, please.
Good morning. My question is about one of the issues that had been raised before the gentleman from Affordable Housing came. The issue of property management had been raised. Are we just creating other slums if we don't have issues of property management? Things like lifts, things like cleaning, and also issues of having so many units in a confined space. Yes, we are moving from Mabati, the shanties, but are we just now moving to concrete slums? How will that be? How is that being addressed? Because we know there are some units that are already ongoing and some that are complete. So yeah, how is that being addressed?
Thank you. Let me pick one last question there. Another lady here, one in yellow. Let's get some gender balance. On this side, is there? Okay, let me.
Thank you very much, moderator. The lady in yellow is none other than your former vice president.
Oh, sorry for not recognizing you. Yeah.
So my name is Engineer Grace Mudhoni Kagondu. I was when I was serving as vice president, I think I was very privileged to be on the platform that was that initiated the Affordable Housing Forum between IEK, AAK, and IQSK. And one of the things that we were pushing for is for establishment of, I think the president alluded to it in his remarks, the establishment of a research point where all these learnings can be captured. Because this is a model initiative that is tackling the rapid population growth and the urbanization. So it's actually a problem that is replicated, I think, across Africa. So the learnings that we can make from this project, they need to be captured. And then the principle of Kaizen, continuously improving, where it's not working, like Engineer BK has mentioned, the challenges, where representing Housing Secretary, my apologies, where there are challenges, those challenges can be documented, and how they've been addressed can be documented. So there's continuous future learning, even for academia, and even the materials that are being used, environmental issues that are being tackled, they've been raised, geotechnical studies, all those learnings can be captured for future generation, because this is a resource that you want to use efficiently. So I think that establishment of that center is very important, and also formalizing that arrangement between AAK, IQSK, and IEK, so that they're able to support the government in this affordable housing program. Because these are all engineers who are seeing these are opportunities for them to serve the government in solving a very major problem for society. So I think we'd want to hear how far that progress has been achieved, and what we can look forward to as engineers and as AAK. Thank you.
Let me ask Engineer Njenga to just answer the few questions that are there.
Thank you so much. I want to really to appreciate Engineer Grace, and I'm happy that she was part of the pioneer team. IQSK, AAK, and IEK is still running. I know the president of IEK is still there and also leading the pack. Let me say that before the team came in, we had started what we are calling Lot 1 affordable housing, and we had 15 projects that were cut across the country, and these were G+4. But when this team came, we now started out densifying our blocks. Most of them are G+11, G+14, and this came because of the designs that we got from the team that came, meaning that we are taking lessons from them. Now, as now we roll out the phase 3, we need now to keep now having the lessons so that we keep on improving. So last year, June, we had a symposium in Naivasha for 3 days, and this is when this team was formed. And I believe the President IEK can also mention about it, because I know this documentation of the lessons that we are running. Maybe we say the 1-bedroom units about 20 square meters, 2 bedrooms. No, the bed seat are 20, 1 bedroom 30, and 2 bedrooms 40. And again, using the building code that was rolled out this year, we need to keep on having improvements for the houses that we are going to do. So I don't know whether, no, the issue of property management. Of course, when you're having that 13,000 housing units, it's not possible for the ministry to come and run. Of course, we have houses that are all over the country. We have a department called Estate Department in our State Department. But again, we have private service providers that we engage to come and manage for us. So the same case will be happening. If we have like Nyali, the VOK, where we have 1,976, we don't expect the ministry to come and run. We are going to have private service providers to come and do the property management, and of course, you'll be able to charge a fee for the security, for the lift management, and the like. So for us, we do the investment, then once the houses are ready, the management of those properties will be now done by the private, and an arrangement between the ministry and that private service provider.